Hey Heidi, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you, Pam?
I'm great. Um, I was thinking about you this week. I've been talking to people, and one of the things that I've been saying to them on a pretty regular basis, lots of different people, is, remember when we used to get new technology and we would have like a new version of SharePoint, and we had 4 years to get used to it.
I do. I do. Back in the days of '07 and then 2010, 2030. It's actually 3 years, but yes, I
Three
gotcha.
years, 4 years, years,
Right.
years. Now, like you have a week. Learn it
I
all
know.
quickly.
I know. The pace of technology is definitely changing. And even as us, the pillars of the tech community and those frontier users are having troubles keeping up, to be honest. So,
Absolutely.
I'm seeing that, that gap of the skills that we used to build with, and like you mentioned, going back to the time it took to learn the different features and the skills that it took, as like Power Platform developers, we had a long time to learn these skills, and the time of that gap is closing. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing or detrimental by any means, but it is, getting these tools in the hands of users that to be able to use AI to build tools is definitely speeding up the process of the build, where in the past we used to have a lot more time to maybe consider things like governance and risk and how it affects the whole organization before we start using AI to build tools.
Yeah, one of the things, like, I can't remember what it was, but you recently mentioned some training you were doing, and it was for something that just came out. Like, it's brand new, and it seems like as soon as something comes out, everybody wants to learn how to use it, and we're like, yeah, we need to learn how to use it too.
Exactly. We are all, like, kind of at the same pace, honestly, of learning alongside of these users. And it's been a challenge, but it's been a fun challenge, but it is an overwhelming challenge to, remain one of those front runners with the AI tech skills. But also, it's on the flip side, AI and organizations are jumping on AI and tools because they have to, because users are expecting that in their job nowadays to be able to use some of these tools that are out there. And if you're not going to use a tool that is properly governed and secure, maybe bringing your data outside of the network to use these tools,
Right.
that's a definite risk to the organization. So organizations are jumping on it because they have to, but along the same lines, adopting Power Platform was an optional decision. There was either Power Platform or other third-party tools, and companies had time to vet those out and make those decisions on what made sense for their organization. But AI has definitely been a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different, not different for everybody, especially around development. Like, I know so many developers who are trying to figure out where to find all of the tools, how to learn them, what's the quickest way to learn them, how do you empower them to learn all of this, but also make sure they understand all the security and all of the risk. Administrators have never had it harder in terms of securing data. Like, we are having more conversations about data governance, data security than ever.
I agree. Microsoft Purview has really come front and center with the, which I didn't expect with Copilot. Like it makes sense now thinking about like what Copilot can do is to reach into your SharePoint data, and then that oversharing and exposing of data has made that so important. So I've just seen a huge shift to the Microsoft Purview skills, but I also appreciate that Microsoft does see that with the tools that they are rolling out, and they're seeing that from the end users and those concerns, and they're kind of making some enhancements to the SharePoint Advanced Management and bringing that into the hands of the end users and the admins to make that data securing a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the cool things that I've been doing is in learn.microsoft.com. If you go in there, to kind of help people go to learn.microsoft.com. There's so much information. They're kind of like, do I do this? Do I do that? Like, what things should I try to learn first? And they only have like a small bandwidth for learning anyway. And so if you click on your name and you go into profile, you can click on collections and you can create your own training list. So I've been kind of making training playlists off of these where I have required sections and then some like advanced or optional sections, security sections, and you can put some pretty specific information in there. It's very customizable, and found it to be very helpful. I wish it had some analytics because I mean, I share it, but I don't know if anyone's using it. So that would be good information to have. But that has been very handy because Microsoft has so much information out there. But where do you go first? What do you start with? What do you need for your organization?
Exactly. And I like to tell customers too with Copilot and, ask Copilot. Like that Microsoft Learn case is a great example. You can go into Copilot chat and ask it like, hey, I want to learn more about what is happening under the covers here. Like tell me a little bit more about Microsoft security and find me some trainings on the Microsoft Learn site. And then it would be able to help you and guide you and bring that back for you. So that's a great example.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, One of the other things that I have heard quite a bit is that AI is not going to take your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI is going to take your job. And so I think that that has really contributed that kind of mindset to organizations have to use AI. You can't bury your head in the sands. You can't give it a year to settle in and learn from somebody else. Like everybody has to dig in and find places and ways that they can use it. Um, I was working with one developer who has done so many amazing things, and he's got so many really foundational things in place. He's like, I don't really need AI to help me with development. And I was like, that's great because the thing that you're not good at, the thing you don't enjoy is documentation, customer communications, all of the other project things that go along with the development that you have to do. So if it doesn't help you with the thing that you're really good at and that you don't really need help with, really focusing in on all those things that you don't like to do, that you don't enjoy doing, that are really time consuming. It's a great place to just really get started for people who are not sure how they're supposed to use it.
Or even treating it as an extension of your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
think go back to the SharePoint designer days when it was difficult to reach out to anything that didn't live directly in SharePoint to create a party connector in SharePoint designer. It's
Yeah.
probably, it's still not possible, I
Yeah.
imagine, but so they use the AI as an extension to that. We have all these plugins and connectors, and I mean, AI aside, like Microsoft has all these approved connectors. Like Power Platform has over 700 of them. I think we're over 1,000
So,
now of
yeah.
things that
It's
are
amazing.
built,
Mhm.
but use that and leverage things like GitHub Copilot, and just use that to enhance those skills and not have to think quite so hard about it. It'll get you going on the track to even so you don't just hit that rock wall when you start to do things that are outside your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and I find that like once people start using it, I have a friend who just created her first Microsoft Forms. She got onto ChatGPT and said, "Please help me. Like, how do I do this?" And it told her to go to Microsoft Forms. It gave her step-by-step instructions. Now she's created 4 forms. She's done a bunch of stuff. So she is definitely
An expert.
hold on one second. I'm leaving the camera on. Somebody just closed the door in my house and I'm home alone. Exactly
Oh
what
my gosh.
happened, but we're just gonna move on. So yeah, she made her own forms and she's done some now that she's done that, she's feeling empowered to do more. So she's looking at Power Automate and some things in there. So I do think that like the more you use it for everyday things, whether it's summarizing it to write emails or just to like summarize something that you were sent, it's so helpful and it gives you so many ideas of different ways that you can use it. Um,
Definitely. I see, like, with just automation in general, and especially with AI, and we are less focused on personas now and more focused on the processes. And how do we break this down into those repeatable processes? Not so much like how do we automate what finance does every day? It's how do we automate what, how do we help these people save time in their roles about what, and versus what does a finance person do? But also, I think that it's also going in to help people with AI. It is difficult because we're trying to build these behaviors and these ways that AI can help you, but if we truly don't understand the business process behind it, it is hard to understand how we can insert AI into the picture. Like just because we can doesn't mean we should. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there, and that's why I think that it's very important for these users that are being enabled with AI in the organization to share with one another. Because if you know a business process and you found something, just like the girl that you mentioned that is now
Yeah.
knew how to build a form, and now you share it with one another, and then that just kind of spirals, and that's how the tech community has been created, honestly, and why we have so many champions in the tech community. And I think that's going to be especially prevalent with all this AI tools we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited about some of the Copilot agents and building and creating those. I find them to be incredibly helpful. We're in GCC. We don't have the agents yet, but I have it at home. So I've been playing around with that. I know that you've been working with them quite a bit. And I think that, especially in terms of how we do things and improving that overall experience, like I'm really, really excited to see how that transforms the workplace.
Yes. And then just to wrap it up, I do want to give like one piece of advice. I'll go first and I'll let you think
Okay.
about it for a minute. But like if I had one piece of advice to anyone who is starting with AI and maybe a little bit overwhelmed with this space, I've heard one of our CTO did a presentation about embracing AI, and he mentioned that this we've seen this before. Like this is not new. Don't think of AI as some huge thing that is going to change the world, which it is. But the first computer changed the world as well. The internet changed the world. Like we've done this before. Like we know the drill. Like it's going to have
Yeah.
that adoption curve. So don't be don't feel left behind or afraid of this, and just take it in bite-sized pieces. Like that was how this whole show came to be, is between you and I talking about some of these little nuggets of things that if you start feeding these to the end users, they start adopting them, it's going to change the way they work. And that's kind of how we should approach AI too, is just take it slow, take it one piece at a time, and you learn to adopt. What
Yeah.
about you?
Let's see. Totally not prepared for the question. I I think mine is just to start using it. Start somewhere. I think people that perfect be the enemy of good. They plan and plan. I'm going to do this, or maybe I'll do that. Like, don't think about it. Just start, like you said, using it as an assistant. Whatever you're doing, it's your junior assistant that you can start using right away today. And the more you use it, the more creative ways you'll think about using it and applying that technology and part of your everyday flow of work.
Exactly. And to piggyback off that too, it's meant to be like I love the assistant
Mm-hmm.
analogy we use, because it is meant to be a human and a person that you talk to. So don't get caught up in prompt engineering. That's a scary word out there that has been new. And so, there's a lot of buzz about it, but just talk to it. Just treat it like a person, be nice to it, say please and thank you. And, it'll get you somewhere.
Yeah. Well, this was a great conversation about just AI and all the things that are changing so rapidly. And we'll catch you next time. Please let us know what you're thinking. Leave a comment in the chat.
Thank you.